Collaborations typically are found in the mythic rarity, but that's not always the case. There are a handful of collab items that are not mythics, and those are the ones that we are going to be ranking today. Folks, we are going to rank every single non-mythic collab item in Fortnite history from worst to best. And just one thing at the beginning of this video, no medallions, right? In my book, those are fake collab items, and so they won't be on this list. Be sure to leave this video a like if you enjoy it, and use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop when you make that next purchase. But with all that being said, let's get into the ranking. At number 15, the worst non-mythic collab item in Fortnite history, it is Cash from Season X. It is legitimately a useless item. It does not have a single use on the entire Fortnite island besides completing one quest. This was part of the Borderlands collab, and no surprise, it's in last place. It is useless, and yeah, I just don't want to spend any more time talking about it, so let's move on to the number 14 spot. The item at that spot is going to be the Stark Jetpack. You know, the regular jetpack isn't really good, and the Stark Jetpack is the exact same thing, just in a purple rarity. I mean, it is literally just a reskinned regular jetpack, nothing crazy. You can make some cool outplays with it, I guess, but there are just so many better mobility items that this item doesn't really even stand a chance. I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of forgot it existed for a second. Number 13, I've got the Boom Billy from the most recent Fortnitemares event. This is a grenade that has homing missile-like capabilities. All that means is you throw it down near somebody and the Boom Billy will just continuously follow them around until it explodes and does damage. It's not really a grenade that you're going to be using for, you know, big time damage. I think you're more going to use it as a nuisance, just to kind of bother somebody and take the tension off yourself. It's really good at just kind of causing chaos and being used as a distraction. And of course, this is part of the Jigsaw collab. At number 12, I've got War Machine's auto turret from Chapter 5, Season 4. I vividly remember making a video in the beginning of this season saying, oh my god, they have to nerf the auto turret. This thing is beyond overpowered. You get an item that you don't even have to use. You just put it on your back and it'll just deal absurd amount of damage to players. And well, that wasn't really the case. In Zero Build, I assume this is a different story. I remember watching a lot of Zero Build content and seeing a lot of auto turrets running around there. But in Builds mode, this thing is as near useless as it can possibly get. It does 5 damage a shot and I believe 3 round bursts. Again, another item that's meant to be used as, you know, kind of a distraction, just kind of a chaos starter. Honestly, it's just not worth taking up a whole item slot for this item, in my opinion, of course. At number 11, I've got the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle, and you want to know something? I have been getting absolutely ripped in my last couple of videos where I've included the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle. I've just been absolutely dogging on this weapon. It seems that I've upset some of the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle fans. I honestly didn't realize there were that many of you guys. And you know what? I am going to stand my ground on the take that the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle is not a good assault rifle. It is a bottom of the barrel weapon. And yeah, I'm standing on business with this take. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle in the comment section down below. Interestingly, actually, at number 10 is the Nuka-Cola item, which obviously comes from the same collaboration as the Tri-Beam Laser Rifle, the Fallout collab in Season Wrecked in Chapter 5, Season 3. I don't really have that much to say about it. It's a pretty middle-of-the-road healing item. You get 25 health instantly, and then you get 75 shield over time. So basically just a better version of a Slurp Juice. It's an item that you almost always are going to have a use for. You're never going to complain about it. Even if you have 100, you're still going to drink the Nuka-Cola if you don't have any inventory slots to hold it. And yeah, it's a pretty decent item. At number 9 is the Sub-Zero Combat Kit from our most recent season, Chapter 6, Season 2. I have a feeling this is going to stir up a little bit of action in the comment section down below because there seems to be a decent amount of people that actually like this weapon, but to me, it has been a huge letdown and totally overshadowed by the Kneecapper. If the Kneecapper wasn't in the game, sure, I see the Combat Kit getting a lot more use, but for mobility, are you taking the Combat Kit or are you taking the Kneecapper? You're taking the Kneecapper. For melee damage, are you taking the Combat Kit or are you taking the Kneecapper? You're taking the Kneecapper. So this item has just been made totally useless because of the baseball bat. I have not been touching this thing. I gave it a couple uses. I really didn't like it. So I'm really interested to see what you guys think about this item, or I guess just the general community consensus on the Combat Kit. For me, it has been a total letdown. Moving onwards to number 8 is Captain America Shield, specifically our Chapter 5 Season 4 version. Obviously, we are not talking about the LTM version of this weapon. No LTM exclusives on this list, as always. And man, you want to talk about an item that was absolutely busted on launch. I mean, there was literally just 1v4s with people only holding the Captain America Shield item, just running lobbies. It was so broken, and especially in Zero Build. As you guys know, I come from a build player's perspective where Captain America Shield was good, but nothing crazy. In Zero Build, that was not the case. But you gotta listen to the nerfs they hit this thing with. I mean, first hit damage reduced from 60 to 250. Damage required to stun reduced from 500 to 250. Decay per tick. I don't even know what that means. Reduced from 40 to 15. Throw homing lock radius reduced by 40%. And there is more and more. I don't feel like boring you guys. Just all you have to know is they nerfed this thing into the ground. And as it stood by the end of Chapter 5, Season 4, it was just kind of meh, in my opinion. And number 7 is the Double G Bomb. It's just a remixed version of the Boogie Bomb. To my knowledge, all these stats are identical, except the Double G Bomb plays, you know, your little snippet of a Snoop Dogg song. So, you know, it gets a style points. The Double G Bomb will always be good at, you know, taking people out of vehicles, taking people out of choppas. It's just all around, you know, a really solid item. I don't have a ton of complaints with this one. Number 6 is the Stark Industries Rifle. This is always a weapon that is very tough for me to rank, as is really any weapon that was in the game pre-Chapter 5 and then came back as Chapter 5 as a projectile weapon instead of its hit scan version. You know, really, I should separate this into the Chapter 5 version and the pre-Chapter 5 version because it does really make a big difference, in my opinion at least. The hit scan version was just so beefy. It was such a good weapon, but then once they made it a projectile, it just felt so much more difficult to use. And obviously, it doesn't help its case that this weapon was only in the season where you literally have Mosquito Simulator, making it so difficult to hit literally anybody who had the hover jets. You also had, you know, the flight kit. I mean, just a very rough season for, you know, an assault rifle player. And that doesn't help the Stark Industries Rifle's case on this list, unfortunately. Anyways, moving on to number 5 is Drake's Map. I don't know if this is like, you know, a bot play out of me, but I did not even know that this was a collaboration item. I had no idea who Nathan Drake was, but it turns out he's a big deal. He's the main protagonist of the Uncharted series of games, of course. So yeah, his item is a buried treasure map. That's really all it is. It's the exact same thing as the legendary item you guys all know. You hunt down that buried treasure, you get a combination of a couple of items, mostly legendary. You're guaranteed at least 1 legendary, but you can get up to 4. Again, making it tough to rank because, well, how do I know if you're going to get 1 legendary or get 4? I mean, that changes how good the item is. It really is just up to luck, but at least 1, and it almost always gives you more than that guaranteed legendary weapon. Yeah, you're just not going to complain about that ever. I guess it also, you know, kind of has to do with how far the buried treasure actually spawns from you. You know, sometimes you might even find this, look how far the buried treasure is, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going that far to get it. But I would say, you know, more times than not, this is a good item. Moving on to our number 4 spot today, guys, that is Juice's Chug Cannon. This is from Chapter 2 Remix, and it is just a different variant of the Chug Cannon, which we all know the exotic Chug Cannon. That is a very good item. Most of the time, you're gonna pick it up. I know it takes 2 inventory slots, but depending on what season it's in, for the most part, yeah, you're gonna take it. And obviously, you get the additional bonus of plus 3 seconds of low gravity every single time you use the Chug Cannon. So even if you don't even need the health or shield, let's say you're on height or something, you don't want to take fall damage, just shoot this thing at your feet and you will glide safely down to the ground. Yeah, this is a very good healing item. It's a shame, actually, it was barely in the game, and to be honest with you, we'll probably never see it again. At my number 3 spot is Shuri's Black Panther Claws, once again from Chapter 5, Season 4. This is a great Fortnite item. I'm tired of seeing all the hate. I remember this thing getting dogged on all through Season 4. It does not deserve that. Shuri's Black Panther Claws are so good, and they only struggle a little bit because everybody had hover jets, and so nobody was using melee items. But you know what? I didn't even use this weapon for its melee. I used it for its goat mobility when I didn't have the hover jets. I mean, just look at the gameplay. Like, you can absolutely fly through the air with the Black Panther Claws. They are an underrated great mobility item in Fortnite history. I really don't have a ton of complaints, and you guys know I'm not a big fan of melee items, so for me to be talking this well about one, you know, it's got to be pretty good, and if you played Season 4, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we are now officially inside our top 2, and at the number 2 spot from Chapter 5, Season 3 is the Magneto Power. And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably expected this to be at the number 1 spot, and honestly, rightfully so. The Magneto Power was so good, and if you see my number 1 spot and you say, you know what, no way, Magneto Power should be there at the number 1 spot, I would definitely hear you out on that argument. This thing was absolutely busted. I remember it being a thing in Wrecked where it was like, if you didn't have Magneto Power by the end of the game, you were just gonna lose the fight, and for the most part, that was true. Not only were you able to just like hover straight through the air and attack somebody, it did great damage to vehicles, which, as we all know in Chapter 5, Season 3, that's very important. You also got a massive shield that you could hold up that, yes, was infinite. I know you could, wear it down after doing a certain amount of damage to it, but for the most part, yes, was infinite. It's an item that I think would have gotten a lot more attention if it was in Chapter 5, Season 4 instead of being in Chapter 5, Season 3, but you know what? It's getting all the attention it deserves here on this video, but noticeably, it is not at the number 1 spot. Well, that's because the number 1 spot on today's video goes to the War Machine's hover jets from Chapter 5, Season 4. I've mentioned them all throughout this video, so you've probably had an inkling, hey, when are they going to come up on this list? Well, here it is at the number 1 spot. This item, honestly, I don't know in a Fortnite season if I've ever seen such a crutch Fortnite item in my entire life. It was like if you did not have a hover jet, you were not going to win the fight against somebody who had one. And look, I know what you're going to say, they nerfed the hover jets toward the end of the season, and by the end of the season, they weren't as good. For like 3/4 of the season, these things were absolutely broken. Absolutely unreal mobility. I feel horrible for anybody like myself who had to go up against somebody with a gatekeeper shotgun, a hover jet, and God forbid they had Dr. Doom's Monarch pistol and they were good with it. Or how about this? They had Dr. Doom's arcane gauntlets. Combine those with the hover jets, they were absolutely insane. I mean, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about if you played Season 4. War Machine's hover jets were absolutely broken. It would be a disservice to this item to put it anywhere else than at the number 1 spot. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know I just got super animated talking about War Machine's hover jets. If I had a face cam on, you would see I am literally going crazy talking about that item because I just got some mega flashbacks to Chapter 5, Season 4, and not great ones, to be honest with you. But anyways, if you did go on to enjoy this video, please be sure to leave it a like, subscribe. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. We're pushing there. And let me know any other video ideas you guys have for me in the comment section down below. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.